All right, welcome to the latest installment of the Run to Daylight podcast. We got in a little late due to some technical difficulties, but I'm joined by Billy Muzio, and we are doing a live FFPC draft out of the 10 spot. We've already agreed on who we're going to look for in the first round, and we are going to be texting backwards. So I see Liz Ballard and Henry Muto wondering where the Toddcast is. It is live. And we are live with our friends from the FFPC, doing an FFPC 350 best ball draft with, football guys draft with 500,000 up top. At some point, Billy, I want to talk about the new best ball $125 tournament when we get into the later rounds and we're sick of looking at each other's faces. Billy and I have never done a draft before. So together, so this is going to be learning on the fly. You can see the draft board up, and you can also see Billy and myself. So hi, Liz. What spot are you in? Henry, are you in? So if you want to join the conversation, we are looking at the comments. Saquon Barkley making it to 7. Billy, I am not a huge Saquon guy this year. What are your thoughts?
At pick 7, I am. I think Tyreek went a little early. I'm seeing Saquon go in the top 5 every draft, him and Jonathan Taylor. So both those guys fell a little bit, and I'm hoping the guy that we want is here after this next pick.
Yeah. And he is. So I will make the selection. We wanted Ezekiel Elliott. I think that a lot of people are, what was I saying? I got confused.
We think a lot of people are taking recent biases in weighing him too heavily because at the beginning of last year when Dak was on the field and the offensive line was healthy, Ezekiel Elliott was a top 2, top 3 running back. And so with the offense coming back together, Dak on track for week 1, the offensive line is healthy again. I like Zeke Elliott at pick 10.
Yep. And we are, I'm going to add a couple names to our queue.
I'm doing the same.
And then I'm gonna refresh. We have to refresh and to see each other's people. I was interested in Austin Eckler actually if he had made it, but it looked. Oh man, I went to full screen. Exit full screen. I wouldn't mind one of the tight ends here, Billy. Possibly. So if they're stupid enough to leave us both of the tight ends.
Yeah, so in the first round, we have seen a total of 10 running backs go off the board. That's a first for me. It's usually 8 or 9. So that's a really run heavy crew today.
Yep. Well, I mean, we did say that we would be doing this. So I think we got a lot of people. Oh, Najee Harris at 2-1. There's a reach. I mean, there's an interesting pick. So Waller went. We've got 3 guys in the queue. The guy in the number 2 spot is my favorite. What about you?
I like the guy in the number 1 spot. I just think the consistency, the O-line, and the usage is going to be a little bit more consistent.
You don't worry about, I don't have a share of either, so I'm willing to go either way here. But I do worry about the other player that is there. You know what? I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think he's been going in the first for me in a lot of drafts. I'm happy to get him every time on the turn at 2. And I think that he is a candidate at a dark horse to lead the NFL in rushing yards.
Well, don't get me wrong. He's my and we took Nick Chubb over Joe Mixon. I wanted Joe Mixon. Billy wanted Nick Chubb, but Nick Chubb's my favorite running back in the league. My concerns with Nick Chubb have nothing to do with Nick Chubb. It has to do with Kareem Hunt and the fact that they're determined to split the two of them. But I'm happy to get it. And that, this is one of the reasons why I like splitting drafts with other people, is because you get exposure to people that you necessarily weren't on.
Yeah. And then you get, different opinions. And I think that we had talked about the bye week for Christian McCaffrey, and a lot of people are looking at it as a negative. And I think I told you on the last time we recorded was I actually like having, Christian McCaffrey fall now in drafts to pick 2, pick 3 sometimes, as people overreact to the bye weeks, because you get 12.
Henry Mudo asked that question.
Yeah. So with round 13, so it's the same example with Chubb here, and same thing with Christian McCaffrey, is their value's falling, but you still get the same talent. Yes, you don't get them in the first week of playoffs, but you get 12 healthy weeks of a top tier running back through the season to get you into playoffs. And I just think that that's an advantage over having somebody have a bye in the middle of like week 6 or 7 when you really need to win. I think as long as you back it up with another running back that doesn't have a bye in that week, I think that it's safe.
Yeah, I mean, again, as a tiebreaker, again, I would have taken Joe Mixon, whose bye is in week 10. But I don't have any Joe Mixon either, and I'm feeling a little left out that I didn't draft some of him earlier. I do have concerns with him as well, so it's not like I don't have questions about Mixon either. So I just filled up the queue. I went position by position. You might want to.
I just refreshed.
Yeah. So basically, Billy, you and I wanted to come out of the first 2 rounds with 2 running backs. Why don't you explain why you wanted to do it, and then I will explain why I wanted to do it.
I like having the consistency that you get with a top tier running back on a week to week basis. Don't get me wrong. You're going to find some value in rounds 3, maybe rounds 4 in some aspects with some running backs, but to be able to land 2 top running backs in I should consider that, running back 1 tier, I think just proves to be very valuable in these FBG drafts. Be able to rely on 2 guys consistently week in, week out, kind of set it and forget it. And then I'll let you kind of describe the other part, which I also agree with.
Yeah. So to me, I'm big on RotoViz and a lot of their research. And what the research has found is that pretty much wide receivers outscore running backs throughout the draft. From start to finish, in general, wide receivers outscore running backs. So to me, what I look to do when I draft is I want to draft my running backs when I think they're as close to the wide receiver values that I have as possible. And with the theory being, if I'm only giving up, let's say, 15, 20 points over a season in round 1 and 2, and I'm giving up 2 to 3 rounds worth of value in round 7 or 6, because what happens is with positional scarcity, people end up drafting running backs, not because they like the player, that they're the best player on the board, but because they need a running back. So that's why I like to do it. Let's see that. Liz got Antonio Gibson, took him over A.J. Brown. I would have been all over A.J. Brown at the end of round 2. Absolutely. Devontae Adams, the last 2 drafts that I've done came in right around where he is. I think he's a fabulous value there. I do think Rodgers will end up being the starter, Billy. You?
Oh, I understand why he's dropping. I think it's a little too much, because even if it's not Rodgers, I mean, they just signed Blake Bortles. I mean, I know they got Andrew Love. I know they got Love there. But I think that even if it is Blake Bortles, I mean, look at the seasons that Allen Robinson had with Blake Bortles. And I think that Devontae Adams is a better talent of a wide receiver. So I'd have to believe that's
and it's
the
a better
floor.
offensive line with a better running game.
Just altogether a better team. So I think that's kind of the floor if it was Bortles starting, or even if it was Love starting. I think that they could throw together a pretty good season. So at the end of round 2 to pick up Devontae Adams, I like that value.
Yep. Yeah, fair point to Todd Hunter. We'll try not to mention who we didn't choose until they're gone. All right, and Joe Mixon did end up going all the way down at almost near the end of the first round. That's the latest I've seen him go for a while. Looking at the rest of the round, Beach Junkies, I hate to use the word reaching for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but to me that's a reach. And DeAndre Swift making it to the beginning of the third round. I've seen him falling lately. People actually buying into the Jamal Williams hype, I think.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. I think that team's going to run a lot. I think they're both going to be viable, and I think that it's going to be able to support both of them. But I still think that Swift is, 60 to 65% of that share.
I'm going to invite Bradley to jump in a little later and join us and give some thoughts.
That sounds good.
If he's around, I mean, there's no reason he shouldn't come join us.
All right, non-biased opinions. We should draft Mike Davis for him then, so he can hate us.
Yeah. So looking at our board here, I don't think at this point I mind sharing our thoughts on our third round pick, which is that we're going to take the best player available, regardless of, because we got two running backs already. You don't mind taking a third running back. I don't mind taking a third running back. But if we like a wide receiver better or a tight end better, we'll take one. Did I talk out of school?
No, I'm sorry. I was updating the queue. I just moved some players around.
Okay, I just refreshed.
And I took the guy off because I can't.
It's taking a long time to refresh. Oh, there we go.
I really hope this player makes it back to us.
Oh the guy you have in number 1?
Yes.
I like the one in number 2 a lot too.
I like that guy as well. I just think there's a massive teardrop after the guy at number 1.
All right. Remember, you won the last one.
I did. Yes.
All right, let's look at the other people in the queue.
He just your guy just went.
All right. So I wanted McLaurin. We both like Dobbins here a lot, and we're going to go J.K. Dobbins.
Oh man, I can't believe he fell to us the end of round 3. I've been seeing him go in round 2 to 3 turn.
I saw him. Oh my gosh, yeah, that is. I wasn't drafting him at all in the middle of the second round, but once you get past like 3-4 or 3-5, I think that's right around where his value is. And let's look to make sure that there's no one else on that we're missing in the queue real quick. And we've got 4 names now with 4 picks to go. So we're going to get somebody we like. And then Julio was not on our list. Some talk about him going to the Patriots.
I don't know why he wants to do that. It has to be money based. I don't think they're in any position to go to a Super Bowl. I don't.
That's who you wanted?
No, he was on my list, but that wasn't the number 1. The number 1 I have in the number 1 spot who I want.
I like the guy you have in the number 1.
Yeah, me as well.
But I like the guy in the number 4 a little bit more.
Okay, I'm fine with that as well.
But I've got some of him. And I haven't started. Yeah, let's see who makes it.
Yeah, let's see who makes it, and then I'll tell you why I like 1 a little bit more, but I'm completely fine doing number 2 as well.
Oh, I think I know your reasoning, and I'm going to go with it.
Okay.
He's my most owned player at that position right now. All right, so a good thing for us because we got our 3 wide receivers. We were talking about Mark Andrews or one of the wide receivers. I'm good with Mark Andrews here. I think
I like
there's
the
a
stack.
huge teardrop.
Yeah, I mean, there's still Hawkinson on the board, which I actually have ranked above Mark Andrews, but I like the stack that were able to get with Dobbins. So that to me is valuable. You're almost guaranteed a touchdown from a week to week basis between those two positions. I think that's early. I think that's early for Josh Jacobs right now.
That's about where he's going now.
I've been seeing him slide to 5 lately, into 4. I mean, it's about a half a round, but I guess get your guy. I guess that's what that is just go out and get him.
So I'm adding to the board for our next 2.
I just messaged you on Twitter my thoughts. Perfect. I do like the one you added there, though.
Well, what I do is I go position by position.
Yeah.
And that's how I do it. And then I'll let you adjust them as we go.
Okay.
So basically all I'm doing is putting everyone that I would be okay with taking in one of those 2 next picks. And then what I do is I try and compare how many are in the queue to how many picks we, are till our second pick.
Yeah.
And then I look to see, I start looking at, okay, well, we're not going to get somebody that I really like here. Start looking at some other things. So we've got 24 names. Yeah, we easily got 2 people that we like. Refresh. I want to talk to you about taking a couple guys out.
Okay. Let me just move one up for me. Okay, I'm refreshed.
All right. Number 11 I want to take out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that, especially with our build.
Yep. And number 11 again.
Yes. I agree. I'm also okay taking out number 8. I'm going to refresh and make sure it's the same number.
I'll do that, although I think the player is a good value there. And now I'll refresh again. All right, let's take another look at comments. If we don't get to your comments quick enough, it's because we are doing a live draft while podcasting, because we're just good that we think we can do that. You know what my best quality is, Billy?
Your looks.
Okay, so you know what my second best quality is?
I thought it ended at 1.
No, my humility. That's always been one of my favorite jokes, because obviously if your humility is one of your best qualities, you wouldn't mention it. All right, so we see Josh Allen go at 4.7. How is that ADP wise? Kyle Pitts ahead of TJ Hawkinson. I don't get that, but I understand that the Pitts fever, but Hawkins, I don't know. I will
not own a single share of Pitts. I just can't do it. I think he's a great talent. I think he's going to be a very good tight end, but I just don't think it's going to be year one. He would have to be the exception. I mean, with the last person to do it was it? I mean, Rob Gronkowski was a pretty good rookie year. I think it was it Ditka? Was it the last one?
1960.
Yeah, pretty sure it was.
But I mean, Ditka's rookie year was like 60 to 63 or something.
But that was good for back then, you know. And are you talking about?
Oh, he changed. Him and John Mackey changed the position.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that. I mean, Pitts has that type of talent, but to come in, even if Julio's traded. So if Julio's traded, my projections go up. But I only have Pitts projected for like mid 700 yards and like 6 touchdowns. And for that type of production, that's more like round 6, 7, I think, for the tight end position. Like, I'd much rather have TJ Hawkinson ahead of him. I'd much rather have right now Noah Fant ahead of him. I just can't draft him in round 3 and 4 like he's been going. Ingram's rookie year was great. Yeah, I think that's Wheeler. Yes. Yeah, he had a pretty good rookie year, but it was nowhere in comparison to like Ditka's rookie year. And I think Kyle Pitts is being way overdrafted.
I agree. So I am writing an article for Football Diehards again. It will actually be in their magazine. I'll be reviewing a draft. And I just got an email that I need to cut it from 2,000 words to 1,500. Anyone who knows me is not surprised that that I was a little wordy. So what we're also I don't see any big reaches, but what you are starting to see is that next tier of running back that you don't feel as good about going. Mike Davis, Chris Carson, Josh Jacobs. I feel pretty good about David Montgomery where he is. You know, he's the lead back in the 4th round. Myles Gaskin, I think, you know, I like Gaskin, but there's still a chance they add somebody. So I feel pretty good with us getting the 3 running backs that we did. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good right now for a guy who doesn't have a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's my only concern. We don't have a wide receiver yet, but I think based on our build, getting our stack, and the caliber of players that we have for those positions, I'm okay with not having a receiver right now.
Yeah, and I'm okay taking a quarterback with this next pick. You know, I can't talk about the names, and I don't have a stack of the guy, but yeah, there's some good quarterbacks out there right now. I sent you a text.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't see. Well, you're just gonna have to tell me who you want.
I want Lamar. I want to complete the stack.
So you do. All right. I'm good with that.
I don't get to see that very often this late in a position, like at 1.10, to be able to. This is more of a stack built for like, I think like picks 3 through 6. Quite frankly, I've already got one of those. Where did you draft from? I'm curious because I don't see it this late normally.
I got them in the 4th and the 6th, but it was right after the NFL draft. Literally the first day of football, guys. Remember that 0-0-0 running back draft I did?
Yes.
I've part of the reason it was a 0-0-0 running back was the fact that I took Andrews in the 4th, and after going wide receiver, I just couldn't pass on Andrews late 4th and Lamar in the 6th round. There was just no way.
Yeah.
So
that's
I
pretty
see
late.
who
Mark,
I see who you've got at number 1.
Yep.
Yeah, the guy that I wanted at number 1 just went, T. Higgins.
That's a 50-50 for me. I like them both, but I'm sad to see him go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with your number 1, but I would want number 3 instead of number 2.
Oh yeah, I just moved him actually. I didn't add 3.
I'm going to refresh. Hopefully we got time.
Perfect. I love that this guy fell to us.
Okay, yeah, I'll take him. I see it. I'm going to have a lot of him. I think he's in every draft every FBG I've done so far.
I think I have high ownership too.
and there's that sneaky chance that Aaron Rodgers does get traded there. We're talking about Cortland Sutton. We took him in the 6th round. I felt like that was a no-brainer. All right, so let's look at some of the other people. Yeah, Wham Bam 27,840 over Ayuk. I'm not a big Ayuk fan, honestly, this year. I feel like it's a run-first offense. You've got Kittle, you've got Debo, and you've got Ayuk. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm not an Ayuk fan. I'm not a fan of his ADP. A lot like Dobbins, he was a guy I was fading early, and unlike Dobbins, he hasn't started dropping yet. So,
and for me, you've heard my reasoning. For those of you who can see the red and gold behind me, I love the 49ers, and I love Ayuk. I think he had a great rookie year, but I don't think he has that year if Debo and Kittle are both healthy, or if one of the running backs was healthy the entire time. I think he was force-fed, and I think he had propped up stats versus than what he would have had we had everybody on the field. I will. I am projecting a bit of decrease in his production this year.
Yep.
He's off the board now. Thank you, Liz.
Liz took him?
No, she said you're discussing players still on the board again.
Well, someone directly asked about Ayuk.
They did.
But we will try and wait. All right. So,
did they just time out? I think pick 6 timed out. We'll find out in a second. There's an asterisk on there. Nope, they picked Noah Fant, and then Javonte Williams went.
All right. Yeah. So I'm starting to add names.
I mean, up until that point, okay, take that back. I like the wide receivers 5 has. I don't like the tight end, and I don't like the fact that Javonte Williams is his running back 1. I think that the wide receivers are deadly, but to be relying on 2 rookies as your number 1 for 2 different positions is a little scary for me.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Todd?
I'm sorry, I was adding to the queue. On what? I in that 0 running back team, I've got Javonte Williams as my running back 1. That being said, I thought I could pass Gaskin through, and I couldn't. I think. Look, I think that if you're gonna go 0 running back, that's the way you do it. It's gonna look ugly, right? So it'll just be interesting to see what afternoon does the rest of this afternoon as it relates to what running backs he ends up with. I don't want to give him the strategy that I would use, but if you're going to go 0 running back, you got to commit to it, and you need guys that are high upside. And Javonte Williams was clearly my number 1 guy left on the board. So now I will take a shot at him and say there's no way I take Cooper Kupp in the 5th.
I agree, especially with the wide receiver build you already had. I
take Kareem Hunt there. I worry about Kupp coming off an injury, and I don't have a ton of names here, but I'm also leaving out quarterback because we've got one. And there's some good quarterbacks still on the board.
I know that he's on there, but he's going to go here soon. Is Justin Herbert, because we don't need a quarterback right now. So I'm completely fine talking about a player on the board. I have Justin Herbert projected for nearly 5,000 yards this year. I think that the Chargers adding the offensive line help that he needed, them bolstering that, and the rookie year he had was arguably the best rookie year from any quarterback in NFL history. And the only rookie record he didn't break was Andrew Luck's passing yard record from 2012. But every other rookie record he smashed, and I think that he builds upon that campaign.
I want you to go through the list. I've added the cues, the people I like. Okay. Go through, especially if you think we need a position, and see if I missed anyone.
The top four are exactly my four and almost in that same order, but I'm okay. That order right there, I'm fine interswapping either of those.
No. What I mean is there might be players that I didn't add to the queue.
Gotcha.
That you want. So go position by position and let me know when you're done.
Okay. Let me take a look here.
And I'll just also throw in on I'm not as high on Herbert as you are. And there's two reasons. Better offensive line means better running game. And their defense was all banged up last year. They've got a new defensive coach. I'm expecting that defense with all the talent that's there to be better. I just don't know that they're going to be in as many shootouts as they were last year. So I feel like Herbert is being drafted at a ceiling.
That's understandable. I would agree to disagree, but time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that most people don't do is they don't consider what defenses are going to improve and what defenses are going to get worse and how that will affect how pass happy teams are. I mean, the Chargers were a real niche pick as top defense last year. A lot of smart people were drafting them for their football guys teams. It didn't work out. But a lot of times it's the next year when that defense really improves. And with a new coach, I just don't know about the pace. We need to broadcast on delay. I am now. I think it's finally gotten through my head. If the guy's in the queue, I'm not going to talk about him.
Or we will, just to throw you off.
I'm really, really upset that Raheem Mostert just went because you and I are both really high on him this year.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I think he might get cut, actually.
Yeah. I didn't think so until you actually said it, and then I started looking around more. I still think it's there's a chance, but I'm not betting on it.
No, I'm not betting on it either. But sometimes I mention things that could happen that, a 10, 15, 20% chance because nobody is even considering that 10 to 20% chance. Yeah. They almost didn't pay him last year.
That's true.
And he was the clear number one guy. So you mix that with Shanahan's way of falling in and out. I mean, it would be the most Shanahan thing ever if JaMychal Hasty ends up winning the starting job or Wayne Gallman. We're talking about the 25th round now, but I'm kind of joking. So we're not really talking about players, but oh wow! All right, we're up next.
And
well, we're going to get.
I
have the number 3 guy ahead of the number 2 guy, just so you know. Let me refresh.
I do too. I just didn't want to do it because I didn't want my biases to kick in here.
Yeah, and the number 3 guy has a little bit better chance possibly of making it to the next pick.
Yep.
But I don't think so. Oh, man. Well, we got to go with the number 1 guy.
I agree. It could be the steal of the draft.
Yeah, and the number 2 guy Well, he's at a different position, possibly. All right, so let's look at our team now. We've added our second wide receiver, and I really feel like this is the best part of. I mean, it couldn't have worked out any better for us. I'm high on Sutton. I think Beckham in the 7th round. Any concerns you might have are gone. Juju was the guy that was.
There's the guy who just went. God damn you,
huggers.
So,
Debo was the other guy we were considering there. So we need to start looking. I've actually got number 3.
I just moved somebody. So hold up. I'll refresh real quick and make sure it's the same number.
Okay.
What number do you have? We're on the clock.
It hasn't gone up. I've got number 3 as the number 1. I really worry about. I think the number 1 guy slowed down a bit last year, and I just think the consistency of number 3. But I mean,
does Chase being there? Does he scare you?
Yeah, I'm fine with number 1. I mean, he was. I drafted the snot out of him last year.
I'm fine with number 3 as well, but I just want to. I'm okay either way. I'm gonna let you pick because I won 2 of the previous ones.
Yeah, I'll let you win again. It's so close. I don't have much of number 3 or number 1, and I know you had to mention that name, but so now we've got 3 wide receivers. Out of a T because running backs go so early and tight ends go so early. This is a tier of wide receiver where I think you have guys, all 3 of them that we have, that could end up being 2nd, 3rd round values.
Yeah, and I think people are a little nervous with Will Fuller switching teams and trusting Tua, but he's still going to be the deep threat. I still think he steps into the immediate number 1 spot. Devontae Parker has just kind of been that by de facto. I don't really think Devontae Parker is really that good of a wide receiver. It's just kind of been volume based. So I think Will Fuller is going to have weeks that's going to win you weeks as well. I know he suspended week 1, but I'm really not worried about it.
He didn't seem to me, as good as he played, to have that top end gear like he had. But he's a solid pick there. And I think that we're going to be spending a lot of weeks wondering if we should start Dobbins or Fuller.
I think so.
Right? 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and then Dobbins and Fuller. I think we're going to I think Dobbins will win most of the time, but so Todd Hunter broke his own rule, which just goes to show that, when you're that woke and that impressed with yourself. No, I'm teasing. Huggers took Jerry Jeudy, and I'm sorry, I just don't get. I saw Jerry Jeudy go in the 6th round of an experts draft that I'm doing that article for Diehards on. Do you worry about Chubb and OBJ, same team every week? No, I don't. I mean, to me, OBJ was clearly the number 1 over Debo there. If I had noticed it, because I'm doing, this is what happens when you do a podcast. We didn't even consider the fact that that Odell and, but I still think Odell has that 1st, 2nd round upside if he can put it together. And I don't know.
I also think the Browns have a legit team this year. And I think that, like you said, I think that Odell could be a steal. He could be this year's Diggs, right? Diggs was going at around 7-6 last year. And I think that the same type of value. I'm a value based drafter. I look at players and say, hey, who could easily outperform this ADP? And I think if you were to give me every player on that list between 6 and 8 right now, I think Odell would be at the top.
Yeah. I'm adding right now.
I just messaged you. You added a lot of names I like.
All right, hold on. I just messaged you back.
Okay. Oh, I think that's perfect there.
Oh, your boy Pittman just went.
I saw that. I'm sad, actually. Is that Liz's team?
Good times took Pittman, so no good times for Billy.
It's my sleeper dark horse pick. I love him.
You're gonna love a best. I did my first ever underdog draft, and I took Wentz at quarterback. I was trying to get Pittman, and I don't think I got him. But my 3 quarterbacks in this underdog 500K were Wentz, Jameis Winston, and Taysom Hill, and I just loaded up at the other positions.
That's dangerous, but I think it might work.
Well, it's dangerous in that. Oh, I had Michael Thomas in the 3rd round. Now, yeah. So my thought is that, having that Saints stack every week is going to be really good. And then, maybe you get lucky and Taysom Hill is the quarterback at the end, and he's only in about 20% of the tournament teams. He's not going to get drafted all that much in an 18-rounder. So who did Liz take in the 9th?
She took Pittman.
Oh, Pittman. Yeah, she got your boy. Hurts falls to the 9th round. I'm starting to see him fall a little bit.
I think it's not necessarily him falling. I think just the position in general is starting to settle. As like what we saw, like especially
it's different than best ball.
It is, but even in FBG, it's settling. I think in the very early drafts, like a couple weeks ago, quarterbacks are being drafted higher. But I think just there's more clarity at the position now, and there's really only a few uncertainties. So I think people are okay waiting now.
I mean, I would have taken Higgins in the 5th and hoped that Lamar made it back, but the fact that we got Sutton instead of Higgins, I think you made the right call. So did you refresh?
No, I have not. Let me refresh right now. You can go and give me numbers though, and I can. It's almost.
No, I just refreshed too. I didn't know if you had done something.
No, I have not. We're on the clock.
Are we? It's not showing me anything yet.
Yeah, 46 seconds.
I'm still not in. I'm in. I don't like 1. I like 3.
Okay.
I don't want to wait.
Take it. I'm okay with that. I think 1 might be there on this next turn even.
That's okay.
Even when
the quarter, he was inconsistent all year last year. And we've got the running back on that team, so I'm not as concerned. The reason I'm really starting to add a lot of Antonio Brown, people don't realize he came off the street last year in game 8 or 9. He only played 8 games. He got 45 receptions in 8 games. You add that up, that's 90 receptions. And he did it with literally no practice, no fitness, just walking in. he was the 23rd wide receiver in points per game last year. And, to get Antonio Brown in the 9th round, I have to like that one. So, there's a guy here. Remember the guy that you liked at the running back position that we talked about last time?
Yes.
Same team as a guy we were just talking about. What do you think of? I'm just going to say it. I don't care. I want to take Nyheim Hines here.
I like Nyheim Hines here as well. I like the PPR upside.
It's not in our queue, but good.
I think one of these guys in our queue could make it back to us.
Well, and now we've got 4 wide receivers. Most of the guys in our queue were wide receivers, and I don't even mind saying that because wide receiver is going to be good for a while yet.
Yeah, a lot of these next wide receiver tiers are really interchangeable for me.
A-Rod and Judy, watch and learn, BT. Mr. Hunter. I gotta say, I really like our team right now.
I do too. I think it's played out in our favor. I think that out of everybody, of course, wide receivers are our weakest point, but it also could really surprise at the same time. It has upside.
But we only need one of them for flex. We've got 4 good ones, and we only need one of them. I like Nyheim Hines. Now I feel like with the 3 we got and Hines, I feel like we don't have to worry about sweating that position.
I'd agree. And I think, God forbid, if anything ever happened to Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines has RB1, potential week in and week out.
Yeah, I just added one more running back to the queue. It was the guy that we talked about the last time we talked.
I'm going to refresh and see if it's who I think it is, who I have my cursor on. Yeah, it wasn't the same guy, but I do like him. I'm going to add the guy who I was thinking too, but I don't think.
Well, just wait until I finish the queue.
I can't find my guy. Did he just go and I didn't see him?
Text me.
Just type him in 1 second. Oh no, he's still there. I added him.
All right. So refresh. I just added a bunch of names, so refresh.
Okay. The guy I was just added, it just went. God damn you, Liz. I didn't think he's going to make it back, but there was an outside chance.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue him instead of Hines.
Yeah. I like the upside pick, though. And the Gus Edwards would have been a pure handcuff pick, I think. And
I agree. I think if the starter goes down, Gus is only going to get like 40, 45%, maybe 50% of the work. I think if Taylor goes down, Hines is a 60 to 70% guy.
And I agree with that as well. And I think Hines also holds standalone value with Taylor in the lineup versus where I think Gus Edwards, ceiling in, and I think Gus Edwards may have a lower ceiling, but he also has a lower floor versus Hines.
Sending you a message. So we haven't done much of looking at what other teams are doing. And if you were expecting that while you were drafting, sorry. But a lot of times I don't. I don't, I'll look at who I expect to make it back to me, but I don't spend a ton of time looking at what teams are doing during a draft when I'm drafting because I'm just trying to build the best team that I can. Billy, how about you?
I only look for runs. So like when I don't look at
Right.
I don't look at individual team rosters that deep really. I'll look at possibly the players around me more closely to see for stacks or what are they possibly going to pick so that I'm just ahead of their selection. But when I look at the draft board, I'm purely looking at color. I'm not looking at names. I'm only looking at did I just see 7 purples go? Did I just see 5 reds go? Like what's happening? And then from there, reacting or adjusting your game plan.
So I will go back to Team 5, and he's added Lenny, Pollard, Moss, Darrell Henderson, and Jeffrey Wilson. And I will say, and there goes the running back that I wanted in Rashad Penny, that I would have taken if he was still, But I think in general he's doing it the right way. Guys who are on good teams who will have a big role if there's an injury. I think he's going to be able to start Javonte and Fournette to start the season. And the only one there that I don't like is Zach Moss. I don't think he's a 0 running back type. I think the number 1 running back on the team is the quarterback, and that's not going to change.
Yeah, sorry, I'm deep in thought right now at the queue.
All right, have you done anything with it?
Yeah, I moved somebody number 1 who I absolutely love in this position, but it may be early for you.
I'm refreshing, so text it to me.
Message it to you.
Oh yeah,
let's do it. I love it.
But let's see if I can. Hold on. Let's just wait. I'm halfway through the reload. I also like the second guy, and I take him more. So let's take the first guy.
All righty. And this is Bradley and I have been doing projections, and I think that this guy has a real chance to be a top 10 at the position.
I agree. And the guy that's now left in number 3 would be my next pick.
Let me refresh.
Clearly.
Absolutely. No.
Shouldn't have said anything.
I like 2 and 3 right now too, though, as well.
Okay.
I'm okay though.
See. You know what? If I had spent a little more time, there was 4 or 5 running tight ends I would have liked, but only 1 wide receiver was jumping out at me. And if I hadn't, if I had refreshed earlier, I think I would have pushed that we take Corey Davis over Ferkser and hope that Ferkser made it. I think Ferkser had a much better chance of making it back to us. That's my bad, though, not yours.
Yeah, I just figured both these guys had a chance to go tight end. I didn't think that Huggers was going to go wide receiver there, quite frankly.
Well, Kmet, who was my number 1 tight end on the board, I like Ferkser. Well, they're very, very close.
See, I really like Kmet, but you still have Jimmy Graham there. I think Kmet's going to be used more between the 20s, but Jimmy Graham's the red zone guy. And I think
no doubt. I
think that really limits Kmet's upside. I love Kmet. I think he's great.
I think the number 1 guy is the clear choice here.
Yeah, I think I'm okay either way. I think the number 2 guy has a chance to be the number 1 guy on that team, though. Where I do. I like
both of them. I like both of them.
I'm going to let you pick because I'm okay with either or right here. I don't really have a preference over these two.
You know what? The draft capital. The draft capital. That's going to be a much better offense, I think, in general, too.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, look at him down the stretch. I'm going to, just so I can actually speak to it, I'm going to pull up his stretch run here. So Jalen Reagor here, his game logs. We saw once he was actually like healthy, like weeks 10 through 17, like he was averaging just about 6 targets a game. And I think that was just as they were going through a lot of uncertainty in the offense. But when he actually got to play with Hurts, I mean, I think he did well. So I really like the upside that he has. I think that offense is going to be better this year. And I know they drafted Devonta Smith, but I think that Rager has a chance to be the number one on that team.
Yeah, no, I liked it. This is why I love drafting with someone else. The podcast is also very distracting, and I'm adding the queue and making sure we didn't miss people. All right, so I'm going to start adding again.
Can you throw me backstage real quick, and I'm going to use the restroom?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Hold on. All right, so it's up to me to talk while I'm putting names in the queue, which is fine. And I'm sorry, but it is important that I do this. And I also want to move people around on our draft board. All right, so waiting for Billy to make it back. Let's see. All good. You're the one with the money on the line. Wheels. Love you, Wheels. Thanks. All right, so Aaron Rodgers in the 10th round. I took him in the 9th round of my second football guys. Aaron Rodgers, I was just talking about Aaron Rodgers in the 10th. Refresh. I not only did the queue, but I put it in the order I want it.
Okay.
And then go through and see if I missed anyone. Go through the positions and see if I missed anyone. I just added one more, two more.
I added one. I'm fine waiting on that one, just to throw him on there as a reminder.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to refresh now, so I'm good. No more changes, right?
Let me just give me 2 seconds. I'm just going through each position.
Yep. We're only 5 or 6 away, so I want to have more time this time.
Yeah, I like all the names you've added. That's kind of my list as well.
All right, I'm refreshing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything to add for this turn.
So, Jared Cook, to our friend in the number 2 spot, gets a backup to. You using the calculator, Billy?
I am using a calculator.
It's right on.
I can't do math in my head quickly.
I can, but certain things. All right. So we're 4 away. You're okay with the top 3?
Number 1, I'm not crazy about. I still think there's an off chance that depth is added there. I like it, but it has me concerned. I think I would rather have 3 over 1. 2, I'm fine with as 2, and then
Well, I mean, 3 was there last time, so I'm okay with 3.
Yeah, and I like 6 a lot as well.
Yes, I know you do. I don't think that that's a bad pick either.
I also think we need to address number 10, not necessarily the player.
I don't know, man. I don't see anybody I like there left.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying for this turn. Just in general.
Yeah. Well, honestly, when I look at 1 and 2,
yeah,
versus 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, I mean, we're guaranteed to get one of 2 with the next one.
Yep.
I think we'll, as much as I like 3, and I don't expect him to make it. Well, you want to just go 3?
I think so, because I think 1 or 2 will make it back.
Okay. And this guy we almost took last time.
Correct.
All right.
And he's been going earlier than that.
Oh yeah. Well, let's look. I got
143 is his average right now.
Okay. And where did we get him?
13. That's why I did the calculator, 13 times 12. Because I can't do math in my head.
Oh, right. See, I could have done that.
And then I just subtracted the difference. Like, oh, we got a full round of value on him.
I'm just not a Tevin Coleman fan this year. I feel like he's shot. I know he looks like the lead guy there right now, but in that offense, I don't see him winning you an FBG or even this.
He's kind of I think he's a floor pick at this point.
Right, and I'm not looking for floor picks at this point.
No, me neither. Coleman's dust. Yes, I agree too. The only thing that he has going for him, he has the coach connection, right? And there's not a lot of guys on that depth chart. I think
right,
that
but his upside is what?
Limited.
50% of the work on the Jets.
Yeah.
All right, so
see, Wheeler likes our pick. Mooney, great snag. We almost took him last round, and we decided to go Rager over Mooney.
Yep, and so really good call for you because Rager wouldn't have made it back. I
think so.
And I didn't study ADP as much as I should have before this. Work was running a business is a lot. So I think if 1 is there, I get my pick.
Yep, do your thing. Oh, there you go. The other one went anyways.
I mean, we're talking about high upside, and as much as Mike Davis, they might add somebody, but right now, 14th round. What's Hawkins' ADP? Hold on.
I think 156. No, it's moved. 161.
Well, I see him at. I'm looking at the draft board. He's 14-8 for team 8 and 14th round. So 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looking at it that way, we took him at 14-3. So we took him right around where he's going.
Yeah, that's called get your fucking guy. Excuse my language, but.
Well, it's not even my guy. I haven't even watched tape on him, but I just think that Mike Davis as the, kind of only running back in Atlanta, we all know how rookie running backs can come out of nowhere and just crush. It's a dart, but it's a dart that I don't mind. All right. So I literally was just about to add Carson Wentz to the queue when he went.
No, there's a player that I'd much rather wait on that I think will be there much later. I'm going to message you the name.
All right. No, I was just putting, people in the queue that. that I wouldn't be morally opposed to.
So I messaged you a guy. I'm not going to say his name. Dark horse candidate.
I had so much of that guy last year, and I think based on some factors that where I wouldn't take that person, I'm going to add him to the queue. But I'm also going to add two other names that I would consider. I think considering everything that we're doing here, that's not a bad.
Honestly, I think you can wait until not even this upcoming turn here, but the following.
I don't disagree.
I'm just looking at here now that we have some time. I'm actually going to take a minute here since we're live as well and look through teams. I have to say I really like our team right now, Todd. I think it's shaping up really well. I like the dart throws we have for the later picks from rounds 12, 13, and 14, even including, round 11 in there. I like our base that we have with our running backs, our stack for Baltimore between the running game and the passing game. And then I really like our being able to grab our first wide receiver in round 6 for this build. I think it turned out pretty damn good.
Yep. Which is why we did it. We did it because we felt like we could, you could get good running backs late, and that's just the way during the best ball season, I was taking one stud running back and then really punting running back until almost the double-digit rounds, and then just really going nuts with it. But I feel like all right. So I've put. You better go through just real quick, and then tell me to refresh. I've got my names in there. So to those of you listening, and are you guys enjoying the pod? I know it's a little bit distracting. We're a little distracted doing everything. So I hope you guys who are on this live are enjoying this. I know I like doing it.
And this has been a pretty fast draft, actually. We're only an hour in, and we're at round 15.
Are you almost ready to refresh?
Yeah, give me less than 10 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're ready.
And then I've got a couple thoughts I want to throw by you. I think, Billy, this has been enjoyable enough that I definitely want to do another one with you.
Yeah, I agree, and I think our thinking aligns, and that's always the hardest part when you're drafting with somebody is do you agree on certain players? Do you not agree on players? Are you willing to give in on certain areas? And I think that we both did that, and I think this team is shaped up pretty nicely.
Look at 11 and 12, and give me your thoughts.
Let me take a look here. Let's look at the board too.
Well, I think the key thing is there anyone above 11 and 12 that you really want here?
I would take 9 before I took. No, I think that's a good double tap.
11 and 12.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. It's upside. It's also safe, and then from the rest of it, I'm fine with multiple players in the other positions as well.
All right, because I also like number 3. Like, if I'm not going to do it, it's because I like number 3.
Yeah, I just have concerns with his durability, but I do like the player. I would not be opposed to do that. If you do take 3, I would probably wait on 11.
I would rather actually do 9.
Okay.
And then if it's there, one of 11 or 12, because I really don't care which one it is.
Okay, and I'm fine with that as well. I think I'm good with either of those scenarios.
Yeah, because looking at
The
that
position.
I mean, I'm going to look real quick. There's no other name. Yeah. And number 12 just went. I'm going to go with Eric Ebron here.
Okay.
I think Pat Fryermuth is scaring people away, but I think the most likely scenario is Ebron is the starter there, and I think there's a big drop off after Ebron at the position, and that way we've tapped the 3 tight ends that we're going to need. I think that when you look at Mark Andrews, Ferkser, and Ebron, I think we've got a very good draft. Liz, in what Liz just made a mention that it's been an annoying draft. I'd like to know what she means by that. Normally, people mean that
she's
a lot of
to her taking Michael Pittman ahead of us, and it's been an annoyance to us not getting our guys on the way back.
That's typically what people mean when they say it's been an annoying draft. Devin Singletary, I just noticed, went in the 9th round. Can you yeah. Oh, okay. CEH should have made it to her. Yes, he should have.
He should have, but he didn't. So you're SOL.
But I think you're going to be happy with DeAndre Swift. There's a chance that they're pretty dumb, but and Paris Campbell went. That was the guy when I was talking about number 3 earlier. And I don't think Ebron would have made it back to us because Hayden Hurst went next.
Correct. I think that was correct. And then OJ Howard just went too.
Yeah. So number 8, I'm okay with, although he didn't look as good. I'm going to pass. What do you think about number 1?
I think he gets about 11 to 12% target share in that offense.
Number 2,
I'm going to say he's probably going to be, it could be as low as 10%. It could be as high as 15% target share. I haven't finalized those projections yet.
Oh boy.
How much time do we have? 20 seconds.
I could throw out, if you look at the rank, number 226.
I say play it safe here and pick 8. I can't see 226. Oh, you're talking ADP, I think.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I took the kicker.
So real quick on the queue, number 8 on our list is a dark horse number 20 pick for me these last couple drafts. I like his upside, but I don't necessarily think we have to address that position, but it's always an option.
No, he's on my radar now. And by getting I'm just Butker just didn't look as good as he had the previous years. But one thing I've learned is that when you can't decide which guy to take, knock out defense and kicker. So I'm going to add to the queue.
There he is. Oh, he's deep.
Who?
I can't believe it's that far down. Number 11, I just added in.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't need to refresh. I saw him.
I took me a minute to find him, but I really like the upside.
I'm okay with that.
Can't believe there's this many wide receivers ranked above him.
Did you just see the guy that I threw in?
Yeah, I did actually.
I'm a big fan of that pick.
11 or 12?
13 now.
Oh, I don't see a 13. Let me add it. I'm going to refresh. I have way too many tabs open at the top. I got to close some of these. I can't find what I'm looking for.
Todd Hunter said, can confirm Ebron would not have made it back. Liz was hoping that to start Cook, CEH, Jefferson, and she ended up with, can you move the move the thing up for a sec?
How far up? All the way?
Cook, Gibson, Swift. Huh. Where'd Jefferson go?
Jefferson went right before on 3.1.
Ooh. I really like AJ Brown at 212.
Man, I debated honestly taking AJ Brown at like 2.03.
I know, right?
I love AJ Brown.
Famous Jameis just went. I like that pick. All right, so let's look at a couple teams here. Oh, look at number 8.
I'm going to zoom out so we can see the whole board. There we go.
Okay, yeah.
There we go. Now we get the whole thing.
Look at number 8. That's my favorite. And I like number 9 too.
See, I'm not a big fan of 8. I like the beginning. Tyler Lockett's pretty inconsistent. I like him, but more in best ball.
No. I'm talking about in our queue, bud.
Oh, gotcha. I'm all looking at the team here. I'm like, I'm not crazy
I don't want to
look
at we can look at the teams quickly when this ends.
Here, let me refresh so I have the numbers right.
Yeah. All right, I'll do the same. And after these picks, you're going to have to throw guys into the queue because I'm going to do what you did a couple rounds ago.
Okay.
Walk out.
I like 8 here as well. Now it's 7. I like 7 and 8 here.
Good.
And then I also like number 4 here.
Did you see where I moved number 7? Did you follow that?
No, I'm going to refresh real quick. It's loading back up now. And yep, number 1 and 2. That's perfect. That's same as me right now. Mm-hmm. And I honestly like 5 as well on the turn.
I just moved him to 3. But I'm okay waiting on him to the second pick if one of those two are there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree as well. I wouldn't take him on our first pick here either.
Mimsy. So
if
Liz,
if 1 and 2, sorry.
Explain to me the Matt Breida pick. I mean, he's just done nothing. He's been a favorite for a couple years now, and where is Matt Breida, Billy?
Matt Breida now is with the Bills.
Okay, I get it. I don't get it, but I get it.
I think the person who should have taken him is not Team 2. I could see like Team 8 taking him.
He could be the best back there. All right, so counterpoint.
He was supposed to be the best back in Miami, and he wasn't.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be the best back in San Francisco. That's my concern. So we're going to get one of the two defenses. Which one do you like better?
I like to go with our stack, and I think their defense is legit this year.
I didn't even think of that. I agree. I think that is adding the Cleveland defense to Chubb is a no-brainer.
Yeah, and Beckham.
All right, so I'm going to take one out now. So it's gone. If our number one doesn't make it back.
I'm refreshing.
All right, so let's look positionally. We've got 3, 4, 5 running backs, 2, 4, 6 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, 1 quarterback, kicker, and a defense. So we really
looks like we get our guy. Yep, there he is. We're good. I love it. Round 18. That's unbelievable to me that he's going this late. I'm not gonna lie. I would be fine with him as my quarterback 1 in this type of format.
He was my most owned quarterback last year for a while, and obviously that didn't work out. I thought he was too cheap last year. Sometimes when you miss on a guy,
you have resentment.
Yep. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Ed, I think we need some more wide receivers in the queue. So just look and see if I'm missing anyone.
Okay, I'm gonna add a bunch of stuff to the queue. Yeah, and I mentioned earlier about Baker. I think he does have upside to be a potential MVP candidate this year with the way this offense is shaping up and what they're doing with this team. And I think that the arrow is pointing up here for the Browns. And I think that this could be the year that we see Baker, or I should say the Browns in general, be the offense that people thought they were drafting when Odell first came over from the Giants. I mean, everybody it was high on the Browns and we're projecting him as a top 5, top 7 offense. And it just never panned out. But I think that what we saw kind of down the stretch last year and into playoffs and into 2021, I think that could be the team that we all hoped it was going to be from a fantasy perspective. Yeah, and Wheeler, I agree. Tannehill in 17 is also a massive value. Both those quarterbacks have been going kind of in that 17 to 18 turn there. It's been pretty consistent in these FBG drafts, and I like both of them. My only fear with Tannehill is they lost Corey Davis, my beloved. They also lost Jonnu Smith, and yes, Ferkser's there, and he was also useful last year. But I think that that wide receiver 2 is a large void to fill. And I know Corey Davis wasn't the greatest his first 3 years, but year 4 he stepped up, and I think all they have now is Reynolds and the rookie on board. And I'm just not a big fan of the weapons that offense has outside AJ Brown in the passing game.
Yeah, I'm not on Tannehill at all this year. And especially with what we've got.
Sorry, I was talking. I didn't add anybody. I'm going to add right now.
Okay. The other thing, I don't know why this is going through my head, but the phrase "half milli Billies."
Yeah, that's pretty creative. That's
I think that should
the GOAT District.
I'm not that arrogant to make that our team name, but
I liked it. I thought it was funny. I think that's just the name. It's the name of his show.
Oh, really? That's what it is. Okay, but with your name being, I knew I had heard it.
It's the name of the show because at first I read it and I was like, well, I haven't won the $500,000, so it's a little misleading. And then I was like, and he spelled my name wrong. But then I went and looked at their channel and there was other shows. I was like, oh, there we go. That's vain of me to think that was about me.
Because of Billy Goats. Billy Goats. That's.
I really like number 3 here as my number 1 on the turn.
Okay. A guy I would never pick, so I like it.
And then I I also like number 10 as just a dart, or because I don't think he's on that team come week 1.
No, I don't like number. I don't like number 10.
Okay,
I like
deleted.
number 6.
Yep,
I
I do too.
like. I like. I really like number 2 for the second pick.
I just added number 11 could be the number 2 in that offense.
Yeah.
But I don't like it though.
What's that?
I'm not crazy about it though.
Well, I mean, he was one of my most drafted players for like not last year, but the previous 2 years.
Yeah.
And it just never really got to that next level that you wanted it to. There might not be anybody good in that offense other than the running back.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. One wide receiver as well.
I'm going through that position. Just added. Oh, what do you think of number 8? Oh, refresh real quick. Oh man, your guy just went.
The guy just went.
I really was looking forward to taking him.
Yeah, I think he could do well.
Well, I mean, if everything goes right, he's, we've talked about how that team doesn't draft wide receivers. Oh, you know who's a no-brainer here? I just put him in. Why did he not go? Here, I'm going to text you his name real quick.
Okay.
Take a look.
No, I don't. I think he's a weekly sit candidate. I think he's inactive every week.
All right, I'm going to go with the guy at wide receiver that we both liked.
Okay, I think that's good.
Chance to get the number 2 receiver on the number 1 offense in the league. So you don't like Josh Reynolds?
You said number 11, didn't you?
Oh shit! Yeah, no. I texted you. I said I'm going to text you. I texted you, and you said, "Oh, I don't
like." I'm fine with either of those. There, really. If we had to pick a number 2, if we had to pick a number 2 in an offense, it's better to go with the better offense.
All right. So, I mean, I like Eno Benjamin. Can I have the luxury pick here?
Do it.
I think that everyone assumes he's not going to be the guy, but he has. They went out and got Drake a couple years ago because of his wiggle, and he's got so much wiggle, and that offense is going to create a ton of space for the running back. I just like taking chances on Eno Benjamin.
It's worth the upside at this point. And I always look at my round 20 pick as being okay with being your first cut. Right. And, I'm fine with that as well. I think that, there may have been one, maybe 2 other players that I might have selected over it, but it's one of those things where I don't have a lot of exposure. I don't think I have any Eno Benjamin, so I'm fine having him as one of my first picks here, or my first.
Right. And that's kind of why I kind of just gave in on most of the things that you wanted that I didn't, because that's how you mix it up, and that's one of the great things. So, all right, let's get I'm going to do this. I'm going to get our ugly pusses out of the way, and back out. And yep, so we can see the whole board.
So I can go in one more.
And then I'm going to take the brand thing.
The shoot an email thing is over it. There we go. We have to do it that way.
No, hold on. The what do they call that?
You want to remove the
I'm trying. What do I have to do?
Go to brand and then click logo.
Oh, there we go. I was there, but
that was a fast draft, an hour and a half.
Yep. Hold on. My daughter's texting me. All right. So that was fast. It's 5. Well, not really. Hour and a half.
It's about 15 to 20 minutes faster than normal, I think.
Yep. All right. So let's look at team 1. I like the first 3 picks, the 4th pick, the 5th pick. I'm not a Logan Thomas fan. I don't think that the volume's going to be where it was. I mean, I like Logan Thomas. I just think it's a little early. But I don't see any other tight end I would have taken there. We've talked about Herbert, Dylan. That's not a bad team.
Not a bad team. I would have taken DJ Moore over Robert Woods probably, and I would have taken Goddard or Fant over Logan Thomas. I think with Curtis Samuel in town, we could see a big reduction from Logan Thomas.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was looking at it wrong. Definitely would have taken Fant or Goddard over Thomas. And I definitely would have taken DJ Moore over Robert Woods. I wonder if that's, although, you know.
Oh, no, I looked at it wrong. My mistake. It's round 6. So Goddard and Fant went ahead. That's my mistake. 5 more he had a chance to grab.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was right the first time and wrong the second time. Team 2, I mean, 4, 5, 6. I think they're weak at wide receiver for sure.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about. I've never been a big Curtis Samuel fan. I think he has upside, but as your wide receiver 3, I'm not crazy about it. I really like the start. I love the first 4 picks, first 5 picks, even with DJ there.
Yeah.
I just think outside DJ, Chase Claypool even has questions on a week-to-week basis. So I think outside DJ, there's just a lot of question marks at wide receiver.
Yeah, I also think that if you take Hawkinson, if you take one of the top 4 or 5 tight ends like we did, I'm not taking a 4th tight end. And that's why the guy that you liked wasn't really on my radar for this one. Just from I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just not what I would do.
I agree. If you get one of those top 5, top 6 tight ends, I don't think you need to throw that 4th one in. But if you're like tight end 1 is Robert Tonyan, I think that's when you add that 4th.
Correct. And then, look, people. One thing we should discuss is with the point and a half for the tight end. That's only good if you're a high volume tight end, right? Yep. Like the Jimmy Graham type, point per reception isn't going to make Jimmy Graham. Yep, I get it, Liz. I like Kels from the 2 spot too. And then it's different. But either way, I mean, look, we're nitpicking. Your 19th and 20th round picks are unlikely to win you or lose you this league. But to me, from just, talking roster construction, to me, I'm only looking, if I am going to take a 4th tight end, or even sometimes I won't even take a 3rd, because if they're not going to catch 60, 70 passes, that point and a half becomes a lot less valuable if you're going to take a 30, 40 catch tight end. Would you agree with that, Billy?
Yeah, I would, unless I think the only difference is there, unless they are a touchdown machine, right? And if they're able to get, 40 to 50 receptions, but add double-digit touchdowns or close to it, I think that's where I'm okay taking him earlier as well.
Right. But I think that Jimmy Graham is more like a 1 catch a game guy, and it's for a touchdown. So,
Yeah, it's going to be very dependent. It's going to be like 1 for 3 or like 2 for 4, and one of them is a touchdown, and he gets 9 points or 8 points, whatever it is.
Right. All right. Let's move over to and Carry On in the 14th. I mean, I love Carry On. I had so much Carry On last year, so maybe it's a. I just I had so much Carry On last year, so maybe it's just my bias because it just blew up spectacularly in my face. But one thing that it did teach me for the 50th time in my career is to be wary of guys coming off of knee injuries. Especially if they're not injured, if they're injured during the season, fourth, fifth, sixth week. It's one of the reasons that I'm not that high on the Bengals is because Joe Burrow had 3 ligaments damaged. And, I've seen people drafting Burrow. He went ahead of Wentz. He didn't really go ahead of anyone else that I think he should have. But there are drafts where Joe Burrow goes real early, ahead of Brady, ahead of Ryan, ahead of Lawrence. And I like the player, but just drafting guys off of three ligaments has proven to be a risky strategy.
They are saying he's on track for the start of the season, so I that's been the most recent news this week. I think it's I
didn't
great
hear
news.
That, so okay, good.
Yeah, so the most recent news this week is Joe Burrow's on track for the start of the season, and then he's ahead of schedule and healing well. So I think he has upside. I just think that line is really going to hinder him. We saw what he was getting crushed last year. He also had some of the most attempts for the season, or I should say per game basis. But I think that I really fear that line, and that's kind of the reason why I wanted to go Nick Chubb over Mixon back in round 2. Was that offensive line scares me. I mean, they're always ranked 30th, 31, 32 in PFF on offensive line grades week in and year in and year out. And I just think that offensive line, people underestimate how much impact it has on positional players in fantasy sports.
Especially, I'm glad to hear you say that because people have gotten into my head with Mixon lately. And the truth is Chubb is, he doesn't have the pass game opportunities that Mixon might, but the offensive line and Chubb is just, he's an amazing running back. All right, team 3. I love Kels, Adams, and Metcalf's start. I like Mike Davis. I like Thielen. I'm not a Melgo guy, but I like Michael Carter in the 7th. That's later than he goes.
I'm not crazy about his tight end selections altogether.
No, that makes no sense to me. If you've got right back to the point we were making before, I don't know if this team is either going to win because you've got Kelsey, or you're going to lose because you have Kelsey. So I think especially if you're going to do 10 to 15 of these, you've got to build this team around the assumption that Travis Kelsey crushes, right?
Yeah, exactly. If he gets hurt, this team is dead in the water at the position. I mean, Evan Ingram now has Kyle Rudolph in town. They're going to run 12 personnel. They also have the addition of Galladay there. They have Saquon back. So I think Evan Ingram takes even a step back from what we saw last year just because there's more weapons at their disposal. And I think the dark horse pick there is Zach Ertz. Where's he going to go? Is he going to stay on the team? I don't think so, but he could land in another spot where he's, the 1B or even the 2 in that offense as well. So you're really kind of Kelsey dependent there because by taking Kelsey, you now had created a weakness at running back, which is now your Achilles heel, in my opinion.
All right. I think what they did at quarterback is quite interesting. I just don't think that they got enough out of round 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. The whole point on waiting on quarterback is to really take guys who are making you a stud team, and then you just have to find a quarterback. I just don't think that they got enough out of waiting to justify it. Your thoughts?
I mean, if Watson plays this year, I think it's a good gamble, but I don't like the selections they made. I just think it's just a player basis too. It's just a difference of players that I like versus I don't like, and I wouldn't have taken a third quarterback at any point. I don't care who your first two quarterbacks are. You can always pick up a third on the waiver wire if you really wanted them. So I think that that position, I think it was better suited for another running back dart or even another wide receiver dart throw.
As someone who's in the league competing against him, I am really happy that I don't like what he did after Kelsey, Adams, and Metcalf. Yeah. Because if that's firing on all cylinders, that could have been a really dangerous team. Team 4, your thoughts?
I like the Kamara Mixon start. That's where I'm kind of comfortable taking Mixon. I don't really like him any earlier than that. I like the Keenan Allen pick in 3. Carson, I'm okay with there. I like Jamar Chase, but relying on Chase and Devonta Smith as your either wide receiver 3 or 2 every week is a little scary to me. And I think DJ Chark has upside, but I think has questions as well. Because I think people are underestimating the addition of Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones is actually a good wide receiver, and I think that he could eat into some of Chark's workload. So I don't hate
the noise coming out of Jacksonville hasn't been pro DJ Chark. And they've got Chenault, they've got Etienne, they added another wide receiver too, I think.
Don't forget Tebow.
Which one?
Don't forget Tebow.
Who?
Tim Tebow.
Yeah, I don't get people being so upset that they brought him in.
I think it's
I mean, Tebow's such a lightning rod because of his faith. I mean, I'm a Christian, so I get that the way he expresses it can bother people, but really, from a pure, like who gives a crap, that he's giving him a chance. Either he'll be good enough or he won't, why get all wound up about it? Yeah, that team is, I do like a couple of his later picks. But all right, team 5, I love the 3 wide receivers, but we already talked about how I don't see how you take Cooper Kupp there. I don't see how you take Kyle Pitts in the 4th when you've got a 3 wide receiver start. Passing on Josh Jacobs or David Montgomery. Oh wait, no, they were gone. I don't see passing on Chris Carson or Mike Davis for Kyle Pitts there. That's just me. And then I liked what he did with the 5 running backs. Most of those guys I like, but Darrington Evans, I wouldn't draft him in a 20-round draft. And Joe Dokes.
I'm going to be mean here and say that I think he was better off leaving after round 3 and auto drafting.
Okay. Let's go to team 6. They got the King and then 4 excellent. Oh, I love what they did through team 6. We've talked about Mostert, and he backed up Mostert with Sermon.
Smart.
Penny. I like Penny. I don't see taking Jonnu there when you're weak at running back. I would have taken Damian Harris there.
I would have taken Damian Harris there as well.
And 3 running backs. I mean, 3 quarterbacks. I mean, you're just going to get a bad grade for me in the Football Guys tournament if you take more than 2. And taking 3, I just don't know what you're trying to accomplish with that. So
I'm going to come out and say I think there's a case to be made for, at least in these early Football Guys drafts, I'm okay with taking a second quarterback at any point, but I think there's a case to be made for only taking 1 quarterback in these early drafts and just taking dart throws at wide receiver, running back, and hoping something pans out to your favor. Because worst case scenario, you have the waiver run the week before week 1, and you can add yourself your second quarterback if those dart throws work out.
If you weren't part of this, no way Baker Mayfield makes it Not just no way a second quarterback most likely makes it on my team because I'm starting Lamar Jackson. I used a 5th-round pick on a quarterback. I'm never sitting Lamar Jackson for Baker Mayfield. So,
No.
or any quarterback really. So, I mean, that's just, but I'm not against it if like we're partners and you feel like, he's going to be a really valuable guy. After a couple of weeks, we'll know if you're right. And, and who are we going to, take instead? I think we had McKinnon up. I'm not crazy about that pick. I think it's an okay pick. So I'm okay with the Mayfield that late. But my bigger point is typically if I take a Lamar Jackson, I'm not taking another quarterback.
Yep.
All right. And then we go to another 3-quarterback team with an early quarterback. I just think you lose too much. I like the first. The first 3 picks are fine. But I'm not scared of that team. Watch them come back and kill me.
Yeah. We have a question here from Liz. How many entries do you guys think the 500,000 winner has in the FBG tourney? 20, 50, 100? I had a Beeb on our show on the Fantasy Football Fanalists this offseason, and I think he said he had 68. I believe was the number 67, 68. And he said the last team he drafted was the winning team. So it was a volume play. He did win 2019 and 2020, so he had a little bit of capital behind those 60 plus teams. But 60 teams was the number.
How many?
So I think he said 68 is what he had.
Okay. I guess you just have to stop right before 69.
Yeah, or just only draft 69.
That might have cursed it. All right. So I think 69 would have sucked. All right. Team 7, we talked about. Team 8. See, this is more what I expect. If you take Mahomes, if you're going to take a quarterback, it's going to be way late. Taylor reaching for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 3, okay, but not spectacular running backs, doubling up on tight end, Tarek Cohen in the 11th, Singletary in the 9th. I'm ready for Team 9. How about you?
Yeah, I think so too. The reach was for the stack. I think he was determined. I think he knew he would get Mahomes, and that's why he completed that.
All right, Team 9. I'm shocked that Cam Akers went ahead of Zeke Elliott, but I'm glad.
I'm very happy.
Kittle later than he normally falls. We were going to take McLaurin. I know you weren't a fan of Jacobs. He took Kyler and waited. Again, Fitzpatrick taking Fitz in the 19th round versus a dart. I'm not a fan of that, but it's a minor crime. I don't like, other than his starting 2 wide receivers. I think he's I do like taking Rondale Moore with Christian Kirk, but I think you're never going to know when to start either of them.
Yeah, he hedged his bets there, and he hedged his bets with Devontae Parker and with Waddle. So I think he's just hoping for one of those 2 in both teams to pan out to fill in his 3rd wide receiver. But he could be also facing kind of a nightmare situation where they're both just mediocre on both teams.
And Irv Smith, talk to me about Irv Smith, because I'm struggling here. I know he's a really talented guy, but they didn't throw to either one of them very much last year. Am I missing something?
I think it's just the hype. People are expecting him to get 100% of the Kyle Rudolph the Kyle Rudolph targets, but Tyler Conklin is still on the team, and I think Conklin's going to be more involved than people are hoping for or that are wishing. I think that Irv Smith is being overdrafted, but he does have upside, and I think he could, especially if something were to happen to either receiver. I think that's when Irv Smith is really going to pan out for people drafting him in round 8. I'm okay with him in that area, but I wouldn't take him any earlier.
Hold on one second.
I do like the St. Brown pick in round 16. I think that's a good dart throw at that point.
Yep.
I that offense is going to be really bad. And right now the other wide receivers on the team are really only Perriman, Cephas, and Tyrell Williams. So St. Brown could have a direct line for meaningful targets.
Liz, we're about to do our team. Liz did the review for us. Love Zeke and I like Chubb. Passing on JK, I don't see passing on JK that late. Myself, and I was not a Dobbins guy early in the process, as I mentioned. She doesn't love our wide receivers, but we can get 2 starters out of the group, like the Andrews Jackson stack, and she likes Hines Ward. Hines Ward.
I like Hines Ward too, but he's no longer
there. He was always a favorite. I won so many fantasy championships with Hines Ward. It was ridiculous. All right, so I love our draft. I think that people are underestimating Antonio Brown's value, and that could be the difference. You know, getting a guy like that you get a 90 catch, 100 catch wide receiver in the 9th round. I think, I know he just had knee surgery, but I expect him to be better than he was last year, and he was pretty darn good. He's not the old Antonio Brown anymore, but I think that Rager. So what I like about our draft is, and if I could teach anyone anything, is once we got to that second half, Ferkser, is he an upside guy? Yes. Rager, upside guy? Yes. Mooney, upside guy? Yes. If he can behave himself. That's part of why Antonio Brown is where he is. But again, if he doesn't behave himself, I'm okay. Give me a 9th round guy who's most likely going to give you a 5th, 6th round value, but could give you 2nd or 3rd round value, but could also bomb. Well, almost every 9th round guy could bomb. Javian Hawkins, dart throw, but there's a reason for it. Ebron, just to get a 3rd tight end. Butker, we got the 2nd highest kicker off the board. We got a high-end defense. Billy believes in Mayfield. Pringle and Benjamin are both shots at taking, dart throws, at getting significant work on a big offense. So I'm very happy with our draft, Billy. Your thoughts?
I like it too. I think Ferkser does have upside, and I think I agree. Wide receivers are a weak point, but that's what happens when you start with 3 running backs and go early tight end and early quarterback. You're gonna suffer at some position, but I do think that our suffering was limited with upside with our wide receiver selections, and I think it also reflects our draft strategy. Why taking 6 wide receivers out of 8 picks between rounds 16 and 14 or 13. So I think that I'm fine with it. Out of all the weaknesses of all the teams, I think that, and I know personal biases, but I think that our wide receiver weakness is a better weakness than a lot of teams' weaknesses that we've led for the first 9 people.
A couple of years ago, it wouldn't have been. Beckham was a 1st round pick. Brown was the first pick. Fuller. There's, what I like is that we've got 4 guys who could be 1st or 2nd round value based on their ability. Now, the chances of any one of them, I think we'll get one of those 4 guys giving us 1st or 2nd. Maybe not 1st round value, but 2nd round value. I think we've got a really good chance of getting a number 1 wide receiver out of one of them. Whether it'll be 2 or not, well, again, we didn't start drafting the position till the 6th round.
So I just want to throw something out there with Ferkser too. Ferkser only had a 30% target share last season, and he finished with
30%.
Yeah, very, very, very low. Okay, he finished with
30% is a very high target share percentage.
Snap share percentage. I apologize. 30% snap share. Did I say target share?
You said it twice.
30% snap share, and he finished with 387 yards. He had 53 targets, only playing 30% of the snaps. I think he has very high upside this year, especially with Jonnu Smith leaving town, especially with Corey Davis leaving town. I think Anthony Firkser could be the number two most targeted option in this passing game on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need that, but I do think that he has shown that he is a good player. I think the quarterback trusts him. I think tight end is a great. His skill set is great for the play action. Getting behind the linebackers because teams aren't going to focus on him, right? So, I like Firkser. My problem with Firkser, and this I run into a lot, is early best ball. I was getting him in the 20th, 22nd, 23rd round. So when a guy flies up the board, I kind of all right. So we got a question. Joseph Bright, do you think that Michael Thomas has a bounce back year with Winston? Talk about the New Orleans offense without Breeze. Billy, I'm going to give you first shot at it.
I think Sean Payton is going to get cute and do stupid things with Taysom Hill. I would not be surprised. We talked about this last night on our show on the Fantasy Football Fanalists. I would not be surprised to see him. Let me backtrack. I would not be surprised to see Winston play between the 20s and then them throwing Taysom Hill in goal line packages, limiting Winston's upside and as well as kind of Taysom Hill's involvement. I do think that Michael Thomas has a bounce back year. I think if anyone has a chance to be the number one wide receiver being selected in round 3 and 4 in some drafts, I think Michael Thomas has that outside chance. I just don't personally trust Sean Payton and his infatuation with Taysom Hill, who I absolutely hate. And I just think that altogether, by them rotating those quarterbacks in and out, I think it's going to limit this offense kind of all the way around, including Alvin Kamara, who I love. But I just think that it's going to damper a little bit of everybody's stock on this New Orleans offense.
All right. So I'm looking at, I agree with some of that. I think that there's a chance that Taysom Hill just wins the job outright. So first game, Taysom Hill started 4 games last year. In that game, first game, Michael Thomas was 9 receptions on 12 targets, 104 yards. Let me go back to the second game. I want to see if my memory is correct that he focused on Michael Thomas a lot. So second, he 4 of 6 for 50, so not so good. And it's hard to tell because Thomas was so banged up all year. But my memory was that Taysom Hill really looked for Michael Thomas. Third game,
yeah, because he can't throw the ball deep, and
9 of 11 for 105 yards, and the fourth game,
I would like this offense a lot more if
8 of 8 for 84. So my point is that I think that Michael Thomas he's healthy. And he did that being unhealthy. If Michael Thomas is healthy, he's going to have a really good year. He's my favorite player to draft in the 3rd round period. And I think if I think you're getting a nice discount. And let's not forget the fact that Drew Brees wasn't Drew Brees anymore. Go ahead, Billy.
Yeah, he's safe. He's definitely safe around 3. I have no problem with taking Michael Thomas around 3. I think he's a great player in that, especially in that range of players like CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin. I'm taking Michael Thomas over all those. I just really hate Taysom Hill. It's a personal bias for me. I lost a main event last year because I needed 11 points from Tyler Lockett and from Alvin Kamara. And what do? Taysom Hill just vultures everything. And I just absolutely hate the offense with Taysom Hill in it. That's personal biases.
Well, I'm much more worried about Alvin Kamara with Taysom Hill than I am Michael Thomas.
Absolutely.
And so that is, that's why I hate, I think in the FFPC, McCaffrey, Cook, and Kelsey are all really good first three picks. Then I feel like there's nobody that I like more than anyone else up, so like
4 through 10. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want the fourth, fifth, sixth. I mean, right now I don't mind it because you can get Adams coming back, but um that's why I wasn't sad that we got the 10 because and we got Zeke. So let's look quickly because I got to run, but let's look quickly at team 11, Huggers. I like the start. I like Allen Robinson. I like David Montgomery. I like Hunt. I wouldn't have taken Travis Etienne. I would have taken
Sutton.
Oh, big time.
I'm
but
so happy
he came back and got our boy Debo.
He did.
Who we would have taken over. He got Debo, but I'm not a Jerry Jeudy guy. I don't get the fascination, because I like Courtland Sutton so much, and I like George Fant, and there's,
Noah Fant.
The one thing I will say is that if it's Teddy Bridgewater, I do think that plays more into Jerry Jeudy than it does Courtland Sutton because Teddy's a short passer. I like Landry as a fourth wide receiver. I like the Rodgers pick. I like Corey Davis. The next three guys, I don't get those picks at all. I guess I get Gainwell. I think he does have some upside, but I'm thinking that they missed out on the second tier tight ends. Had to settle for OJ Howard. Overall, I think that Huggers is going to give us a pretty good run for our money, and then I don't get taken two other quarterbacks, but I'm beating the dead horse. Your thoughts on Team 11?
I like his picks. I think I don't like the Travis Etienne pick. I think his team would have looked a lot more dangerous, and our team would have looked worse had he taken Courtland Sutton there. And I also am not a Jerry Jeudy fan. No one did less with more last year outside Jerry Jeudy and A.J. Brown. Those were two of the most inconsistent wide receivers in football last year. I agree. I think Teddy Bridgewater probably plays more to that short to intermediate route running, but I think that Noah Fant picks up more of those than Jeudy does. And I think that I do not like his picks.
And he doesn't have the touchdown equity you would want.
Correct. And I don't like the Gainwell pick either. Like, I think that them adding Curry on there, I think just kills Gainwell's value.
I'm not, and I didn't like Gainwell's tape. I think he played like a really good college player, but not a guy, when you look at Gibson's tape and you looked at Pollard's tape, you saw what might make them successful at the next level. I think Gainwell is one of those more solid types that is good for college, but I didn't see the flashy. I think people think flash because he's coming out where Gibson and Pollard did, but I didn't see that kind of flash personally. Twice in our draft, we didn't take a guy and he made it back to us. Yes. If Sutton was gone, we would have taken Odell Beckham in round 6. So, to me, him taking Travis Etienne there was the best thing that could have happened to us.
It really is. It's a blessing in disguise, or not in disguise. Say it's a blessing that he didn't take Courtland Sutton, because I don't think our team would have been as good had we not landed Sutton there.
No, because
at that point
we would have gone Odell Debo.
Yeah, exactly. And I like Courtland Sutton and Odell Beckham better than Debo and Odell.
TD Taz, Aaron. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm talking more than you, Billy. You take Team 12.
I like his beginning. I think Julio was a little early. Is my only really knock on his first 5 picks. I probably would have passed on Julio there, just with the uncertainty of what team he's going to land on as well. It's very likely he's traded after June 1st. And I like the Dak and Amari stack that he has. I'm not a big. I've always been a Rojo fan, but this year I'm not so much with them re-signing Uncle Lenny and then also bring in Gio. I just think that it's going to be a roulette week in and week out for that backfield.
Yeah.
James Conner is okay there. I like the upside, but I think he's limited. So I think the Najee pick, I missed that earlier. I think the Najee was a reach, but I thank you because that gave us Chubb. And the rest of it I'm okay with. I think there's some dart throws in there. AJ Green, I still think is washed, but I think he's still going to get about 13 to 15% target share in that offense. And I'm not a big fan of the Hayden Hurst pick right there, but he's even confirmed that he would have taken Ebron. So looks like we sniped him.
No, that was Huggers who said that we would have sniped him. So, Najee Harris, if anyone has a worse offensive line right now than the Bengals, it might be the Steelers. So I don't, I like Najee Harris as a player, and I get the fact that the Steelers have just fed their number one back. Hunter says this is the worst team that he's drafted. Liz, this is my third team. I'll only be doing 10, even with other people, I'll be doing 10 to 15 this year. Doing 30 last year was just way too much work for me during the season. I kind of like that, the Team 12, though. I think it's an interesting team. I think it's good roster construction. I would argue if you take Dak, you don't need Matthew Stafford. And that might have gotten us Darnell Mooney, so thank you. I think that's about it, Billy. Any final thoughts? I really enjoyed doing this with you.
Yeah, no, I think that 12 is a good roster construction. There's some reaches I wouldn't have done, but hey, get your guy. That's my firm believer. So
I don't love Gesicki this year either because of they've added two big weapons and Parker's already there, and
Waddle plays across the middle too.
Waddle is I haven't been getting much of him. But we took Fuller instead of Waddle. I think you can go the other way.
I think so as well, especially reuniting him with his college quarterback. I'm just not a big Tua fan altogether, but I think that I firmly believe you could go either way on Waddle or Fuller.
I think Waddle has the kind of speed that Fuller had. And I am not sure that Fuller still has. But I like Will Fuller. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he was one of my most owned players last year. I was taking him in the 5th, 6th round of drafts last year, and he stayed healthy.
PEDs do a wonderful thing.
Yeah, but I do think that I like Waddle more than Devonta Smith. Circular Druid. What? I guess you're Team 6. Cooney Ola. Well, You're welcome. I mean, we try not to be nasty and just be honest at the same time. And look, the reason we do this, both Billy and I, is to make other people better.
Exactly.
And to also think out loud and maybe get corrected.
Yeah, exactly. I think I was only nasty with Team 5. That's really the only one. Everybody else, I think everyone had reasoning and for the most part had pretty good roster construction and their selections. But there isn't really anybody in here outside one team that I think just did. I think everybody did a pretty good job drafting here. So I'm trying to say.
Yep. Well, Billy, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate all your expertise and helping me look at players a little bit differently than some guys I normally would draft. And I think there's an old verse in the Bible that says, iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And I know that you've made me a sharper tool, and I appreciate it. I look forward to doing this with you again.
Yeah, vice versa. I appreciate the invite and look forward to drafting more with you, Todd.
All right, that's going to do it, folks. I will download this and get it up on on the audio up either later today or tomorrow. And thank you for the support. Thank you for everyone who came in and made it a fun draft from a comments perspective. And we'll talk to you soon.